We're on. All right, guys, welcome. Hit the bar. Back again. Miche Rambo this time being our special guest because obviously Tottenham versus Liverpool coming up on Thursdays. How are you doing, sir? You all good?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Just finished my stream. Michi's in a cave. You're sweating from coming back from work. The perfect type of prep you need.
Perfect.
The effects of COVID. That's the effects of COVID, mate.
Yeah.
Legit.
That's the real reason why I'm red and sweating right now. But no, on a real, guys, obviously we normally do this on a Monday evening, but Spurs played on Monday, and then we thought, you know what, Tottenham versus Liverpool, massive game coming up tomorrow evening. So we thought, why not try and get a guest that's a Liverpool fan, and we can just chat everything leading up to the game and just anything general in football. So welcome all. I think we're best kicking off. How are you feeling about Liverpool recently, man? Because the results have been dipping.
Yeah,
it should be us. It's kind of gone downhill a little bit.
Last time I saw Rambo, he was like, "Yeah, Liverpool are killing it, bro." Last time I saw him, like, they were killing it. So it's just, I'm interested to see what he's got to say now.
It was a while ago. Let me clarify. It wasn't like 3 weeks ago. It was a long while ago. Just to clarify that. I mean, you know me. I'm not a football fan. I've been watching Burnley, Aston Villa in the back whilst doing my stream with the amount of intensity that I watched Liverpool Man U at. So I'm gonna say that first just to protect myself. I'm in terms of Liverpool's form, I'm a little bit indifferent on how people are seeing it. A lot of people are saying like it's the end of this Liverpool side. I think Liverpool just lost a big part of what makes them the side they are. Not just Virgil van Dijk as the defender, Virgil van Dijk as the creative asset from the back. And they've had to tinker with the way we play. We tend to have a long ball forward for Virgil, and then we pen teams in because we've got pace at the back. Now you play with slower centre-backs. It's having a knock-on effect here, there, and everywhere. So people saying the front men are dry, but I just think there's just a knock-on effect currently going on. So in terms of how I feel, it's fortunate it's happening this season because nobody's really kicking on. City are going to win it, in my opinion, but I said that weeks ago. What, you don't think City are going to win it?
No, just straight out there with the claims. No, to be fair, I said City before the season started. Obviously, unpredictability, everyone's going up and down. I thought Chelsea were going to do well. Now look at them. So
I thought Chelsea were going to do well, and I actually sincerely thought like City were going to, we're going to be contenders. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I did think Chelsea were going to. But then obviously, I'm a Tottenham fan, so I'm always going to say as well, I think we can win it this season. Like, I'm always going to say that as well.
Yeah, of course. Especially the way the season's going. Leicester could do it again. Villa win their games. They're at the top. It could be anyone, man.
It's anyone's league right now.
But that's what I was literally just going to say. Obviously, you're joking about Spurs, but on a real level, like Spurs could genuinely win it. Not obviously right now. People go, nah, no way, we're not playing well. But you win 10 games, and all of a sudden you're Manchester United. Then everyone's going, oh, you're going to win the league. And in reality, I keep looking at the table and I'm going, United are playing the best they're going to play. And in fact, I was looking at the last few games, and I'm going to say this early because people are going to say, oh, it's because you're a Liverpool fan. But I'm going to be completely frank and honest. I don't know whether they've got title contenders knack or whether they've just got a lot of luck at the moment. Because if you look at their last, I think, 6 games, Liverpool, they win with a free kick from Bruno. Fulham, they win from a worldie from Pogba. Burnley, they win with a deflected goal from Pogba. Then they had the Villa game. They won on a pen. They beat Wolves with that Rashford deflected goal at the end. That's about 6 games back-to-back where you've had either a wonderful goal or a bit of good fortune. Now, I'm not saying... what I'm saying is I'm trying to work out whether are you title contenders or are you just having a moment like Chelsea had earlier in the season. So that's why I'm saying Spurs could have that moment at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
It's more just a case of who can drag that moment out longest.
Yes. That's
very
much
true.
What it is nowadays. Yeah, pretty much.
Because the thing is, if we beat you guys tomorrow, then there's questions about, you know what, we're back in the race again, as people think. Because it was the race was between us two a few weeks ago, obviously leading up to, until we drew to Crystal Palace, then everything went a bit downhill for us. But you're right, I think so many teams are having really bad moments, but then amazing moments. Man U at the start of the season, awful. Now flying after a few good results coming off of it. And I think a lot of it is kind of down to luck this year, you could argue, in terms of other teams. I don't know whether you can say it's to do with injuries or you've got postponements of fixtures. We don't know because the league table is not exactly true at the moment. Like I said, if you've got Villa winning their games in hand, they're up there. They're right at the top. Yeah. So it's a bit of a strange season, but I think Man City have been quite consistent over the past 6 weeks or so. Like they're hardly conceding any goals, which is looking worrying. Like Diaz is looking to be an insane signing. Stones is showing what he should be, because there was a lot of talks about him leaving last summer. Not a lot of people rated Stones, and the fact they've got Laporte coming back, like I think they're the team to be worried about the most right now. But that could easily change within a couple of weeks. Couple of bad results, who knows, man?
Their run isn't too bad. Sorry, Mishi. Sorry, go on.
No, go on. It's fine. It's fine.
No, I was going to say their run isn't too bad, but I think the one thing I was also looking at, I was going, injuries is a big thing, and I think people are going, sack it, it's just Liverpool. But in reality, Leicester have had both their wing backs out, Castagna and Pereira. They've now lost Vardy as well. Didn't have Soyuncu at the start of the season, so Leicester being up there is incredible. Liverpool obviously had Virgil, they've had Gomez, they had Fabinho for a period. City have now got De Bruyne, they had Mahrez, they've had Laporte. The only two teams that haven't, Chelsea obviously had Havertz, they had Ziyech, they had Chilwell, they had Reece James. The only two teams that haven't lost players, and correct me if I'm wrong, in key areas is probably Spurs and United, which is why I've been like, I feel like now was the time for Spurs to go, because if Son or Kane get injured, I'm saying more than likely Kane because of the record. I hope he doesn't, because he's so good to watch at the moment. But if he gets injured, all of a sudden, that height that you probably could have got with him in the side, I don't know what that looks like after. And United have had no injuries. Rashford apparently went for a knee scan yesterday. Geezer's in the squad tonight. I don't know what they're feeding them. I don't know what they're feeding them.
No, you're right, man. I think we've had torrid times with injuries the past couple of years, especially last season, man. We had so many people out,
and it comes at the worst times for us. Like, I feel
exactly. And I think the key players right now, we can't, like you said, Kane's son, but Højbjerg, Ndombele, Ndombola.
He's
so
a
good
baller.
right now.
My twin is on form. No, honestly, bro, he's so enjoyable to watch, bro. Like, he's so enjoyable to watch. Like, George, we were speaking about this like a couple of weeks ago, like the flair, like even just his consistency, his form right now. It's incredible to watch him. Do you know what I mean?
100%. We're not getting, and normally we expect that from the likes of Lo Celso, but he's the one that for us has been injured the most, I'd say, and probably a play that we really missed. But then I guess Ndombele playing so well, it's kind of put into question. It's a strange thing that, because if you look at last season, and not even that long ago, if you look maybe 7 months ago, Lo Celso was one of our best players the whole of last season, and Ndombele looking like he was out the door. People talking about they wanted Troy Deeney and Kim Min-jae as replacements for Ndombele instead of last season, and now it's totally flipped around. Lo Celso's looking more like the liability with injuries. People labeling him Lamella 2.0. I don't know if that's a bit harsh. I think he's just been a bit unfortunate. He's still a quality player, but then Ndombele's just stepped it around.
Yeah, but he's a baller, man. He's so good to watch. I think there's some players that I can understand as a Spurs fan. I don't know if you guys have had this, but people sort of liken him to Pogba because of the swagger he plays with. Yeah. And he can be frustrating because when he's giving the ball away, he don't have the work rate. And being English, we all have this thing of work your sock. Everyone's got to have a hen dog sort of like work rate.
Yeah.
This guy's just classy. He's just a baller. Like he's so good to watch. And when he's on form, I mean, what he did to that Wickham defender, I know it's Wickham, obviously, but I was like, how are you doing that in professional football? Like, you shouldn't even be doing that. Like, to
top
have
flight as well, you know?
Yeah, like, to have
the thing is, we're seeing that against other teams. Like, he did it against City, like the quick thought to put Son through for the early goal there. Like, he's doing it almost every single game now, getting almost full 90 minutes. So I think he's really showing his potential to be a world-class midfielder, which is something we've been needing since Eriksen kind of went downhill, since Dele went downhill. And I don't even know where to begin with Dele.
It's sad to see what's happening with him as well.
So sad, man. What do you make of Dele, Rambo, from an outsider's perspective?
Yeah,
I think the situation. So this is how it seems, not what I think of it, but what it seems like is he obviously got a great move to Spurs. Killed it for a season, got a lot of hype, then got signed by X, Y, and Z brands, fell into the wrong circles of people, which can happen when you're young. He's gone from MK Dons to Spurs like that and become a Premier League superstar overnight nearly. And maybe he's fallen into the wrong hands of the wrong people. And off the back of that, it's affecting his attitude on the pitch. He's then got Mourinho as a manager. But actually, he had Pochettino while Spurs were on a come down. There's a lot of pressure on a young player naturally because he played so well. And then you brought in Mourinho, who's very much so. If you think about what he did to Luke Shaw, it's brutal. And now look at Luke Shaw. Yeah. He's probably come in and gone. I think he said in one of his videos, actually, it was in the Amazon thing, wasn't it? He said, you don't train hard enough. Like, you annoy me because you don't train.
That's what I said to George a few weeks ago.
Yeah, and that builds a perception, which every time he plays that for Spurs and he's not working hard, immediately people go, he's not a hard worker. He's got a bad attitude. I think that maybe has created a snowball effect. And I do feel for him because he's another player that when he's on form, he's so good to watch, man. he's saucy, he's got a bit of arrogance, and those sort of players are dying out because there's a new breed of Goretzka and Henderson, and people love these athletic players. And sometimes I want to see like what Dele did to United. I think it was it United when it come over his shoulder and he bought it. Bought the ball over his shoulder.
That was believable.
Yeah, but from a Spurs perspective, so seeing it from the outside, to me, it's just a kid who's got no confidence. Maybe you guys know more. Is it a case of like he's just done now at Spurs?
I think he's missing the aggression. I think he was always his best when he was this kind of like, he had no fear when he used to play under Pochettino for like the couple of seasons that he was at his peak.
He was getting stuck in, really and truly. Like,
really getting stuck in, like, especially against the likes of Chelsea, Arsenal. Like he was always a big game player as well. Always came through in clutch, and he always used, like you said, like he pulled off skills. And I don't know, ever since he's had to like mature, because a lot of people used to complain about him like not being a mature player, being too arrogant. But I think that was the best part of his game, because then he was fearless. He would play the way he would want to play, and it was exciting to see. And then he kind of just matured a bit, and his performances went downhill because his performance was a bit too by the letter. It was just okay, pass to him, pass to them, and then he wouldn't necessarily make the right runs he used to. Yeah. And I think he's missing that passion and desire, like you were saying. I think he is a typical players that too much too soon in a way, and kind of just isn't bothered to play to his ability and to the way he wants to.
I think it goes back to what Rambo said as well, where even like early on I caught onto Ali, obviously MK Dons, and you were hearing people like Ferguson and stuff like that, like shouting him out and paying attention to him. And it's like, it's true, when you're young and you've got these icons essentially praising you and everything, you can fall into the wrong hands. And I do feel like it's a combination of different things. I'm not necessarily just going to say, it's outside circles, but I always say this. I feel like a lot of players under the Mourinho regime, it can be difficult to adapt to, because under Pochettino, he was thriving. In my opinion, I felt like he was thriving. And it's like, you just let him play how he wanted to play, I feel like. But I feel like obviously coming under Mourinho, you can tell the change there. Obviously, after watching the Amazon documentary, George, I said to him, we had Theo on. I was like, those conversations that he was having in Mourinho's office, it's like, I feel like you have the potential, but, you need to do this. I don't feel like you're working hard enough. And yeah, I think creates perception. And that's difficult for a young player, man. I think it's difficult as well. And I don't want to say the pressure, but like he's always be one of those players we could rely on as well. So it's a lot, man. It's a lot to deal with for a young player, I feel like.
Yeah. I think also with Mourinho, it's either be mine, as in if I'm Mourinho, be mine, or do one. And I think that's kind of what's happened, where Mourinho's gone, I don't like you from the off because you don't work hard. So you need to convince me of who you are and what you're all about. And like George said, and like Michi just said as well, what you both just said is, he's this player that whenever I watched him, I think, for an attacking midfielder, you're a bit of a bastard. Pardon my language. Like, people don't want to play against you because you're horrible. You like remind me of Suarez a little bit. Not to that extent. He's not to that extent, but he's got that thing about him where he's flying into tackles, he's diving, and I'm thinking, you're really annoying. But if he's in my team, I'm thinking, you're exactly the character I want. And I think Mourinho's come in and gone, I need you to keep that arrogance, but also work as hard as a Toro Vidal. And he's probably gone, that's just not who I am. I'm not that guy. I work hard enough, but my style is what makes me the footballer I am. And United had the same issue with Pogba, with Ole, which that will still crop up again at some point. They had it with every other manager with Pogba. I think there's certain players, I don't know for sure, obviously I'm rumouring from what I've read and what I've seen, but there's certain players that managers have to go, okay, I'm just going to let you loose. Like, I'm just going to wind you up and I'm going to let you loose and you go do your thing. And I feel like Ali might be one of those players.
It's sad. I feel like Mourinho. When we first got Mourinho, I really felt like he was going to be the guy to bring it back out of Delhi, because I think a lot of fans now have a misconception that it was like, oh, as soon as Poch left and Mourinho came in, then Delhi's been being bad. But Delhi's been off for like a year and a half before that. Yeah. And I thought Mourinho was going to be the guy to motivate him and be like, yeah, okay, you need to do this, otherwise you're not going to make it. Like, I love your talent, your ability. But it's almost seemed the opposite now. And I think you can kind of tell, like we've seen from the doc, that after maybe 9 months to a year, you can kind of see that Mourinho is just fed up of him. I feel like he's given him the chance. And truthfully and honestly, like, a lot of Spurs fans are calling for Dele Alli to play to show that he can do it. But Mourinho has given him quite a few chances in the Europa League. He's given him chances in some cup competitions. And at the end of the day, no matter who you're facing against, you still got to prove that you're willing to fight and you're going to want to be in the team for the Prem. And Dele Alli, for me, didn't perform in any of those games either. So there's no wonder he's not starting in the Prem. And especially you've got Ndombele balling it out. And that's really the position that Dele's going to play in as well. If you've got a lot of these players that have turned their career around and actually fighting for that place, he's never going to get in the Spurs side that way. So I think alone, it'll be a shame to see him go, because all honesty, I think he's a big talent, and it'll be one of those ones where you'll miss him in a year and a half if he's thriving at PSG or wherever he ends up, because I think he will thrive somewhere else, and you'll miss it. I think alone could hopefully do good. Back with Pochettino, get the bit of flair playing with Mbappe and Neymar and all sorts. If he does go PSG, but Spurs aren't going to sell or even a loan without a replacement, and that's looking tough. A lot of people are asking about Di Maria. There's been no approach there from what I've read, so I don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah, I've been hearing that legitimately. So,
but we need a homegrown player though as well because of our quota. So it's a bit of a mess right now with only 4 days left of the window.
I think it's always a struggle when you've got a player sat there who you probably want 50, 60 million for, and he hasn't played like that value of player for 18 months. Yeah, so I think you're kind of stuck with him a little bit. I do remember a phase, and if I'm not wrong, when Mourinho first came, you know, when Dele Alli did that back heel assist on the byline, he had 6 or 7 games where he was on it. Like, he was actually on it. But I think he was back. But I think that was before Mourinho actually got his system and philosophy into the team. I think the team was still sort of like growing and gelling at that point. And then I think he realised, I can't really crowbar you into my system because I've got Højbjerg, who's, in my opinion, the best signing of the season.
Thank you. A lot of fans, a lot of people have been asking, can we talk about Højbjerg, man? For the amount we bought him for as well. Unreal.
He's the most... Go on, Michi. Sorry.
No, I was just saying he's crazy. That's one of my favourite players. Like, honestly, like, he can really get stuck in. You can tell he wears his heart on his sleeve. Like, I love him.
Yeah, and he's one of these, like, if I ever thought of a player that Mourinho would go for, if someone lined up, like they do when you're searching for the guy who kidnapped whoever, and I don't know what the actual term for it is. It's actually just called the lineup, I think.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. Got the 5 suspects in a row, and you're trying to find.
I think if you lined up 50 Premier League centre mids in a row, I'd probably pick 2 to be Mourinho players. Probably Oriol Romeu because he's a scumbag, but a good kind of scumbag. And then Højbjerg, and I'd always go. He's probably going Højbjerg because he's more progressive with the ball. He's literally a match made in heaven, and I do honestly think he is the best signing of the season. And I said that even before Thiago signed for Liverpool. I said even if Thiago comes in, Højbjerg, in my opinion, people go. I don't know. Some people go, not everyone goes, but they'll go, oh, Thiago's won this many trophies, etc., etc. I'm saying from a perspective of a guy who fits a system and fits a team like a glove is Højbjerg. He came in and the team basically was perfect for him. 100%. And he was cheap, man. He was cheap as chips. Wasn't he like 20 million?
15.
Yeah.
We
bought
him for 15.
I had 16 here and there, but I think it was 15.
But either way, we sold Cole Peters back for 13. So net 2 or 3 million to get him in is ridiculous.
Bro, it's like going to your local fish and chippy and getting fish and chips and the guy chucking in curry sauce and mushy peas for free and a drink. Right? You're like, how's that happening?
Why is he like
unbelievable scene. No, he was quite like, because he's a player we've been missing for a long time with no Dembele. No Wanyama, Dyer moving to a centre-back. We haven't had that holding midfielder for yonks now, or at least at a top level. And we needed that because that's why defence has been so leaky the past before this season. The previous season has been so leaky because we just had too much pressure on the defenders. And they're bound to make mistakes if you haven't got that midfielder sitting in front of them, just breaking up the play. And he just does it perfectly. And not only that, he's a leader as well, which is, you can tell it's a typical Mourinho thing. Almost every player he's brought in is a leader. You've got Højbjerg, you've got Joe Hart, just from the experience and what he's won and the voice that he's got. You also bringing in winners. Reguilon, even though he's young, won the Europa League last year. That's exactly what we're going to do this year as well. Doherty, probably for more experience, even though that hasn't necessarily worked out. But he's bringing in some good players, man, and I think the right type of players as well.
There is a player that springs to mind that I'm well keen to hear your thoughts on, both of you. Is Bale.
We're going there. Why
is it going? You know, as I was hoping, I was like, please. Dude, I've got my mouth for you. I'm gonna let you go first, but I know what I'm gonna say.
For me, I think I just love him too. There's too much bias in there. I love him too much for everything that he's done and everything that he's won. But I want us to renew a second season from him. Either we buy him or learn him again. I do, because I want to give him that chance. But like, he's the guy, man. He's gonna be the new Giggs. All right, he's got to change his style, and it's just been a tough season for him to adapt, man. I've got to believe in him.
You know that toxic ex. He doesn't
Right. Look at it may be Wickham, but there were sparks. Like, he was taking players on finally, which we hadn't seen for a long time. He might have the pace a bit more. I want to see him play direct down the middle. I want to see him play behind the striker if he's not got the pace to take people on, and just bang a few shots, man. I want to see him progress, but it's tough. We're at the second half of the season now. We're getting later and later on in competitions where you're going to start fielding your first team. And unfortunately, he's not in it at the moment. But it would just be so sad that we've re-signed Bale. We've had all this hype, and then fans don't even get to see him at the Spurs ground. Because I do feel like if you had Spurs fans there chanting Bale, Bale, Bale throughout the whole match, it will boost him massively.
Yeah, to be fair.
Because right now he's just low on confidence. He doesn't feel like like I was saying about him not wanting to take people on. I feel like he's not being spurred on to do that. Whereas I feel like the fans could almost encourage him to do it in that way. And it'd just be a shame to see him go, just not like kind of wasted.
Rambo. Listen, my thing, yeah. If you're done, George, yeah.
I'm done.
My thing with Bell is 100%, bro. I was about 12, 13 watching Bell play for Tottenham in our stadiums, and so I definitely hear where you're coming from as far as the bias. But I was one of those people who are like, you know what? I'm not gonna write him off too. I'm still not gonna write him off, but I'm definitely not at the point where I'm like, yeah, I would definitely renew for seconds. I mean, I wouldn't be mad if they did, but I just feel like, you know, from time I'm seeing Mourinho say stuff like, you know, if you play here, you can sit on a bench. You know what I mean? At Real Madrid, I'm just like, well, clearly the manager's not happy with you as well. So I'm not. For me, feeling a certain type of way, from seeing you play, I'm not bugging out, or I'm not feeling like, I don't feel like I'm being a bit harsh. I do feel like he needs to start performing, bro. I mean, you could charge for playing time, you could charge injuries, so on and so forth. But I just do feel like I haven't seen anything wow from him. I haven't seen anything worth of all the hype that we put behind him, in my opinion.
If Bale's name was, I don't know, Guerrero, would you care as much?
Yeah, that's the thing.
I would not care.
Exactly.
Don't lie. We would not care, bro. A lot of it is the person. It's the love we have for him.
A lot of it is the love, but then like what I'm trying to say is that like I don't think he's, because it's been such a weird season, I don't think he's necessarily had a fair chance. And I think I get your point about him saying that maybe the manager's not happy with him from those comments, but then you could also look at it as like a motivator. He said it, had his first game after against Wickham, played a lot better, got a goal finally, having shots. So I'd like to maybe see him more in the FA Cup. Remember, Europa League's coming back. He's going to be a starter in that as well. So he's got a chance to prove his worth in that competition and hopefully win that competition as well. And you never know, man. I feel like there's a lot of things coming out as well. A lot of players been saying that behind the scenes, Joe Hart and Bale have been really good mentors for the whole team as well. Just the fact that he's a leader that has won everything. And not just won it in the team. He's been the reason they've won it as well. Scoring in 3 out of the 4 finals for the Champions League. Like, the guy has been.
But that's why I wouldn't write him off. That's why I wouldn't write him off.
Exactly. I'm not saying like it's a guarantee we have to sign it. I just think it would be good to get him for another year on loan just to give him that extra chance, because it's been a weird season, man. Proper weird season. I don't think he's had the just chance to prove himself.
I when he first came, even as a Liverpool fan, I was like, this is a great story. I'm all for narrative signings. And I was like, for the narrative, this is brilliant. To the extent I put him in my FPL team blindly without even knowing whether he was fit or anything. Like, I love the geezer. I actually love the geezer. I just don't know, and I'm again speculating, I just don't know if he's bothered. I don't know if he's bothered about whether, like, and this probably stems from the fact he's completed football. Geezer's won the Champions League, scored in a Champions League final, scored a bicycle kick in a Champions League final, scored from 40 yards out in a Champions League final, scored in a Copa del Rey final where he ended Mark Bartra's career and Piqué's, I think. He scored in... he scored in huge Champions League nights season after season. He's got paid more money than... I don't even think I know the amount of numbers to the extent of what he's been paid in his life.
Yeah.
He probably owns 15 golf courses around the world. The guy's literally completed life, man.
I think he's actually built one back in Wales. Back home in Wales.
Yeah. If the geezer wanted to, he could buy Wales, bro.
He actually could. Actually fully could.
I don't know.
Buy Newport. You can buy Newport.
Yeah. So I'm a bit like, okay, I understand the sentiment. I completely understand the sentiment. And if Spurs have 100K or whatever it is that Spurs are due to pay weekly for him and are happy to pay it, then why not? Like, why not for the narrative? If Bale scores on the opening day of the season, never scores again for Spurs, but it's a winner against Arsenal, it's fine. Like, you live for that narrative, right?
Yeah.
But that's what football is. Football is love. And I think people do forget that a little bit. But
I think as well for me, man, like if for whatever reason, if somehow Spurs win the Premier League, say, or whatever, wouldn't you just love to see Bale lifting that trophy in the Spurs kit? That's the kind of stuff that drives me, man.
Remember, we're both like,
someone's got to believe. Someone's got to believe, all right? And I'll take it. I'll take it all on the chin. Someone's got to believe. Okay?
Bro, there's belief, and then there's what you're saying.
I said if as well. It's a strange season, man. Anything can happen. But
yeah, look, with all due respect, I did say at the top of this that Spurs could easily be in a title chase. Now, what I will say is if Bale gets on form, to the form, maybe he won't get to that Madrid form, but if he gets to a level of form that he can produce, then you should be in a title race. Yeah. I think football is built in such a way where Spurs ain't going to win the league while Bale's there. That's all I'm saying.
Just break my heart, man. Just break my heart.
Sorry, bro. Like,
I'll be honest. I know it's anybody's league, but bro, come on. Like I'm always gonna say because I'm a Tottenham fan. But even when you said it, I was like, and then I looked at the camera and RAMBO was like,
chat. Remember this, all right? Screenshot, save this, whatever. When it does happen, right? Come back to here and we'll see.
No, we're winning it. We're winning it, man. We're winning it. I believe. Now we're winning it. We're winning it.
Look, if Mourinho's gonna come, why not just win all 4 in 1 year? You know what I mean? Like,
we're gonna win. We're gonna win it.
Sure.
You see, this is
right?
This is why I don't sympathise with football fans. You're freaking idiots, isn't it? come the end of the season, you're gonna be like, I'm heartbroken. My life's over. I'm like, bro, you shouldn't have said you're gonna win the league.
That's more. The league is obviously hopes and dreams. I think realistically, we can like League Cup, Europa League would be a great 2 trophies to win under Mourinho, and I think that's just solidifies Champions League next year, and then who knows what can happen there. I think the problem with us, to be legit, the problem with us right now is I think we have a little bit of a centre-back issue when it comes to leaking a few goals. Because as much as I love Toby, he's all of a sudden been dropped to the second team now. He keeps appearing in the FA Cup games and whatnot, and not in the league of the past games lately. Dyer, as big as he is, seems to be conceding headers left, right, and centre. Same with Davis if we were to play a back 5, which I think we could do tomorrow. That we seem to have a lot of issues at centre back, and I think if we just manage to get Skriniar in the summer, because he's looking like the guy at Inter right now, and they're not going to sell for less than 65 million euros at least now.
Do you think we're paying that?
No chance. Not anymore.
Exactly.
I'm saying if we got last summer,
dream on that one.
Anything could have happened. I don't think we would have leaked the goals we would have, and we wouldn't have drawn so many games. But
not at all.
I think that's what there's been too many like what if moments this season already for us to
it's only January.
The game that probably summed up Spurs, 2 games actually, probably the West Ham game. The 3-3. Like I think obviously Mourinho's come in to get you over the line of being Spursy. I hate that phrase because it's a proper football Twitter phrase. I don't think it exists really. Every team is a bit Spursy. Liverpool, if Liverpool weren't Liverpool the last 2 years, you would have said the same. So every team will drop points. I just think there's a little feeling in me that when you got Mourinho, and I was like, you're not going to drop points like that anymore. And that probably is. I mean, I've been a Liverpool fan my whole life, and apart from last season, we've been that team who come so close and fall off so frequently in games, in tournaments, in trophies, everything like that. I think Spurs are going through a phase where I hope for you lot you win a trophy this year, which I think Mourinho will do, and I think you'll get used to getting over the lines in games a bit better. So, and then the Liverpool game is the other one where obviously we're going to talk about tomorrow's game, where you should have won that game. Harry Kane's header goes wide. I think Son had a chance as well, and then Liverpool win with a header from Firmino.
But that is but that is the Spurs syndrome. I like the alliteration there. That is the Spurs syndrome, bro. That is the Spurs. Like we miss like I want to say sitters, and then it takes just one chance for the other team to put away, and then it's like, well, what was the point? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
so
I think Mourinho's here to do.
It's been like that for a while. So I think my thing is that cycle has to end somewhere. And I think it ends with a trophy, to be honest. With Liverpool, the syndrome ended when we won the Champions League with Klopp, and then all of a sudden we were like, actually, yeah, sorry about that. Dead final, though. Dead final.
You were lucky you were playing us because you were not on it in the final, man. But we were awful. Slightly worse.
yeah. We were lucky we were playing a team that didn't want to be there, basically. And I was like, I can't believe this happened. By the way, Aston Villa just scored, if you're concerned. Grealish has made it 2-1 to them. I think in terms of tomorrow's game, in my opinion, is Spurs have to smell blood and go after Liverpool. Not to the extent of, like, say, head-to-head. You won't beat Liverpool playing fully blown football because that's not Spurs' style this season. But I think if you could repeat what you did at Anfield with a little more expressiveness and being a bit more explosive, I think Spurs could easily win tomorrow. And I'm a Liverpool fan.
I think what the thing with the away game for us was that was a period where Son and Kane were just not on it. Even though some may argue the Kane header came in quick. I mean, come on, it's Harry Kane. He buries those headers every week, and it just so happened to be that week he misses. And then the balls through to Bergwijn. If that fell to Son or Kane, you'd like to think they would have buried it, but both of them were off around those few weeks. So hopefully they've gained a bit more momentum now and are going to be better. Because if they were playing at their peak, I think we would have won that game for sure. And I think we can just need to do that again. If the injuries, well, hopefully there aren't the injuries that I've been reading, because we could be without a left back tomorrow. I can see us playing a back five again, or back three, however you look at it, the way we did against Sheffield United, because that seemed to work having Davis, Rodon, and Dyer, especially since Toby played in the FA Cup. I can't see him starting. And then you can have Reguilon and Aurier almost as wingers. I think that could work, hopefully, against you guys. But again, it's just down to whether the players are up for it on the day. And I'm just worried that we're not going to turn up. I really am. But it's a tough one. It really is. I hope. What do you make of like how Liverpool have reacted to the injuries that you've had, and in the certain players like Reece Williams having to step up, or even Hendo and Fabinho to centre back? Like, are you worried when you see that in like the lineup?
Yeah, naturally. I think as I sort of alluded to, and I'll go into more detail now because we're talking about the game. I'm not one to blame injuries. Obviously, I'm not that sort of person, nor am I that sort of football fan. But in my opinion, if I went and pinched out the best defender in every team in the league, like we saw with City last year, if Laporte was fit, City might have won the league last year. He wasn't, and they didn't win the league. So that to me is that literally evidence that you lose one player and things can change. And if I pick Maguire out of United's back four, regardless of whether you think Maguire's good or not, he's United's best centre back by a country mile. If I pick Diaz out, City are back in the same cycle they were in last year. It's the same for most teams. And so I think Liverpool losing Virgil had one part of the effect was Liverpool lost their main man at the back and their leader, their star man, Neto just hit the crossbar, by the way. Their star man, their main man, they lost him. On top of that, Liverpool lost a guy who is one of the reasons they break teams down quickly, because he plays diagonal balls into Robertson and Trent, which allow Liverpool to get onto the front foot straight away. I think combined with that, Liverpool get into situations via Virgil's long balls where they can pick up the second. By the way, Aston Lambert, shout out for the little, I don't know if it's called a donation or what on YouTube.
Appreciate it, man.
There you go.
On your stairs, makes a sport.
Liverpool don't win second balls as quicker now because obviously you've lost the pace at the back. But I think the biggest effect for me is what Liverpool are allowed to do is essentially play a high line. When you've got Gomez and Van Dijk, people of extreme pace, they're the two fastest players at the club according to the actual stats. Which, if you think about it, Mane is rapid, Salah's rapid. So these two are obviously incredibly quick. Liverpool are allowed to step up to the halfway line. Burnley's 2-2, by the way.
I've just seen Dwight McNeil, right?
Yeah. She's got the notification, yeah.
Liverpool are allowed to step up to the halfway line, and that pens teams in. So when they play, say, Fulham, Brighton, games that drop points in, every time the ball goes out, it goes back in. Every time the ball goes out, the ball goes back in. Evidence is probably that Chelsea game when Liverpool played Chelsea, and that was the first time we had Gomez then, I think, if I'm not wrong. But we were allowed to play on the front foot. Now the issue is you got Fabinho who's not quick, and you got to put someone next to him like Reece Williams who's inexperienced. He's also not quick. You got to play 15 yards further back. And what's happening with Liverpool is the ball's going forward. It's just coming all the way back to the keeper, back forward again. And that transition is really slow. You then lose Henderson, who can't cover Trent. And then naturally, a few players are out of form. and it just becomes into a snowball effect. So I am very concerned about the centre-back issue. I want to see Liverpool buy a centre-back in January, and I think if they don't, they're obviously not going to win the league, but it's going to be a big issue for them. I have read that Van Dijk's back in March, but by March, I don't think things are going to be settled, but he's got to come back in and things got to get going. That is why if I'm Spurs, I'm Mourinho, I'm encouraged looking at the game tomorrow. I just don't know whether Mourinho is the type to go, and I don't think he is. History tells its own story. Mourinho's not the type to go, we can kill him today. That's a Pep thing. Pep does that. Pep will go, we can kill him today. Mourinho's more like, we can kill them, but we're going to stab them slowly. And we're going to take our time in case they've got a knife as well. Whereas Pep's like, mate, we've got a sharper knife than that. Let's do this.
A bit bigger budget knife as well, and just
yeah, bro.
Cut them deep.
That's kind of happened against West Ham, though. That's kind of what happened against them. Like, instead of just going in for the kill and finishing off, we were kind of like, just like, bitch, like, you know what I mean? And then you know what happened.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. How do you guys feel? Because obviously, as I say, I watched every single game. I've watched every game of Tottenham this year, and I'm sometimes impressed and sometimes baffled by how bad you can be.
It is. I would say, where I see it, that's like I would say with a lot of teams. But for title contending now, the consistency of the form has, like, you can't be, 4 games in the trot amazing and then another 4 games you're like you said, what the hell? Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Which obviously is a bit of exaggeration, but I just feel like when it comes to our form and consistency, that's where I feel like we lack. I've always thought that. I mean, George, you can chip in as well.
The thing is, I think that's normally the case, but I think the reason I think we had the kind of dip in form when we did, which is around the last Liverpool game, where it was like Liverpool, Crystal Palace, when we dropped points around here. I think a lot of it was to do with like the scheduling and the fixtures, because as much as we have a better squad now than we used to, really and truly, our best 11 is our best 11. If you start changing that right now, you can tell that the players don't seem to perform that well. So I'm talking like Kane and Son need to play. Even Bergwijn, even though he's had a lot of backlash, we tend to win way more games when he's playing. Højbjerg, necessity, and Ndombele, necessity. So I think the issue was we had a lot of games every 3 days, and important ones as well, coming to the end of the Europa League and then the League Cup quarterfinals and semi-finals. I think the players, and you can tell with the way Kane and Son were playing, they were knackered, absolutely knackered. They weren't making the same runs they were. Whereas I'm noticing the past few games, they seem to look more alive. And even with Bale, he's looking a little more alive in that Wickham game. So hopefully you can count on him to come off the bench a bit more now. And I think hopefully that dip in form and that tiredness has gone now, and we're going to start seeing a lot more consistent run of games at the end of the season. But I think it's going to be tough, because I think a lot of the focus now is beating City in the final in the Carabao Cup, potentially getting to the final in the FA Cup now that the likes of Liverpool, Arsenal, there's quite a few big teams out. And then Europa League is going to be the big one, right? Because if you've got so many teams running for the top 4 spot in the Champions League, why not guarantee it by winning the Europa League? And realistically, the toughest opponent probably is Man United, looking at who's left in that competition. Not a lot of amazing teams dropped from the Champions League to the Europa League. So this is a real chance to win European silverware. So as we get later in the season, I wouldn't be surprised if the Prem form started dipping, because we'd focus so much on trying to win these trophies and getting over that hurdle, like you were saying earlier. But I think looking at the Liverpool game specifically, I'm a bit more confident than I was last time.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Because I think, like I said, the way the players have played the past couple of games, Ndombele is looking absolutely on fire. I think Bergwijn's picked up a little more confidence too. So I'm a lot more confident going into it. But it's no.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's going to be a breeze, but yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah. Exactly. And we're home as well. Like, Anfield has always been a tough place for us to go to in particular. It's almost like a bogey stadium for us, really. Do
you remember we said on last episode that I said, I'd love to go watch a game at Anfield. I'd love to go watch a game. Yeah. The atmosphere, I feel like. Rambo, you can speak on that, but yeah.
Yeah. I went to the 2-2. Do you remember the 2-2 when Kane got 2 pens?
Yeah, I was there as well.
Son as well.
Burnley just scored by
that was a great game.
Damn.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny, you were on about just there, Burnley earlier was saying how it's anyone's league.
Yeah.
It's completely utter madness. Arsenal have 3 points behind Liverpool. That's a story for another day. But the atmosphere at Anfield is, I'm a Liverpool fan, so I might be a little bit biased, but I've I think I've been to every stadium of the current Premier League teams, bar like 3 or 4. Like, don't think I've been to Burnley. Palace's atmosphere is really good, but a Liverpool big game night, Champions League night at Anfield is honestly different gravy. Like, I couldn't recommend it enough. And I think this is where I'm not probably like other fans, where I would probably go and watch Everton Liverpool or Everton against United at Everton's ground. No Liverpool fan would do that, but I probably would, because I'm interested in football. I like football and I like the atmosphere. But yeah, I've been to so many big games at Anfield that, like, they are just special nights. But I was also at the Tottenham Stadium when Spurs beat Liverpool 5-1. Was that last year or the year before that?
Oh, that was at Wembley.
Yeah, that was at Wembley. Yeah. I was at the Spurs Stadium for, you beat someone 4-0.
Burnley, probably. Was that the Burnley one?
Maybe.
And West Ham scored the Puskas winning.
Yeah. And the atmosphere there was strange, because it's such a big stadium, and I think I don't know if you agree, and it's a very different topic to what we're on about, but I feel as though that stadium's been built for corporate fans. Like, it's built for rich dogs. Because when I was at the first official game there, which was a Mourinho charity game, I think, where he managed like Spurs legends against some other legends. I was covering that for 433, so I got to go in the changing room, and I was with Mourinho on the touchline for 9/10 of the game, and it was strange to have a fixture like that as the first fixture. Like, I felt as though like everyone there was rich, basically.
He's not lying. He's not lying. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I get it. Obviously, I get it. But I was like, I've been to Liverpool loads, and there's a lot of rich dogs at Liverpool as well now. Naturally, that's where the football's going. But at the same time, I always felt like there's a bunch of fans that love this football club through and through. Like, they will, if Liverpool are playing in Congo tomorrow, they're going to get the first flights out there.
Come on.
You know. But yeah, so honestly, Liverpool is a mad atmosphere. Even I've been to the United Stadium a few times because my family supports United. Mad atmosphere. There's a few stadiums that I personally wouldn't recommend too much. I know it's got the nickname Empty-Had, but I can't lie. Like, I've been to Man City, Man U, and it's probably one of the deadest atmospheres I've been to, even though it's a massive game. I was at the one where City beat Arsenal 5-1 when Aguero scored 3. And one of them was an absolute rocket. And I was like, mate, the loudest person in here is me, and I don't even support City. So, it's maybe they're building that fan base because there's not a new team as such, but Manchester is mainly red for the most part. But it's mad football stadium. You know where I would want to go, actually? Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to add to your point. Like, even I've had a couple like dinners and stuff at the Tottenham Stadium, like watching matches and stuff, and it's crazy to see how. Just to see how, obviously football's a multi-billion-pound industry, but like just to see how involved now, like, you know, these billionaires are involved now into the sport. It's crazy. It's beautiful. I mean, it is beautiful at the end of the day. But yeah, like, word to you, I think that there are definitely. I mean, I'm looking at one right now. Tottenham fans that bleed the club through and through. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're looking at yourself as well. Come on, man.
Yeah, come on, bro. Come on, I didn't want to shout myself out. I mean, I'm wearing. You know, I'm a Tottenham fan. You know what I mean?
I think like the Spurs. I think the problem. Daniel Levy's a businessman, so he's gonna find any way possible to have the stadium make money with his just little things like his own brewery, hosting the NFL, like the home of the NFL, all sorts there. What I do like about it though is they have built it to have good atmosphere. The sport is good. It's not like. Wembley, I think, is one of the worst stadiums when it comes to like club football, because you cannot build an atmosphere. You're so far away and it's so flat, and it's kind of like the same with the Emirates and like the London Stadium for West Ham. You're just too far away from the action. Yeah. Whereas at least with Spurs, you're on top of it. But I do find like nowadays going to like a Spurs game, there's almost a bit of entitlement with some fans where they're not necessarily singing as much. It seems to be a lot of the older fans who would have been on the waiting list for a long time finally got their chance to have a season ticket. And that kind of creates an atmosphere issue where it's like either older people or families where they're not going to get involved as much. in the games, and it just naturally happens when you move to a bigger stadium anyway. But I was disappointed in some games at home where, like the first ever, I think I said this before, but the first ever Champions League game at home, Man City at home, winning that game.
You told me.
Wait, it was mental. Me and my cousins were sitting next to each other, like, with our season tickets, and we had a corner in front of us, and we're in the south stand as well. Bearing in mind, this is supposed to replicate the yellow wall at Dortmund or like these kind of places.
Yeah,
we stood up for our corner, like an attacking corner, like you naturally would. We did at Wembley, we did at White Hart Lane, when you're like on the attack and you're getting like gas. But then we had our own fans and stewards like saying, "Nah, sit down," like this, that, and the other, getting abuse from like
they
their own team and create atmosphere, which is mad.
Yeah.
Gone, man. That's
like
the
policing, like policing in it.
Yeah. I think.
Go on.
I think sorry to interrupt. I think there was a time where like football stadiums were every single fan used to stand and sing. Basically, I think now it's. I feel like how it should work is that particular part of your stadium, which in Anfield is the Kop. You should be able to do whatever you want there. Like, if you want to jump on someone's head, you can do it all you want, obviously, without breaking their neck.
And wear a mask as well.
Yeah, wear a mask, obviously. Stay safe.
As long as you...
And I think there's a particular part of the stadium where you have people like me, who obviously I love football, but I'm not a screamer
100%.
shouter. I sit and watch football with a lot of intensity.
Yeah.
Like I'm Pep Guardiola, Asian with a beard, and not a job.
No, Rambo, you love it. You love the game. You love the game. No, you're not honest. You love the game.
So I quite like sitting, and if someone stands in front of me, if there's a mad goal, and if there's a goal, then But if someone stood in front of me for like 6 minutes and a half and nothing's happening, I'm like, geezer, like you're in the wrong place. If you want to chant and whatnot, go to either the Kop end or go to the near the away end where you can throw bottles at each other, but don't stand in front of me. Like, and I think that when you build a new stadium, like West Ham have had this as well. Their stadium is like a mishmash. Like I went to the West Ham Liverpool game, and behind me were Liverpool fans in the West Ham end, and next to me was a bunch of Korean guys, but in front of me were a bunch of guys who were drunk, like effing and blind at the Korean guys, and I was like, this mixes the guys in front of me, obviously super West Ham fans, and you shouldn't. You are gonna beef someone, 100%. Go and beef your own lot that 100%. You like to beef for that football match. Don't go and beef the lot that are not anything to do with you who are at football matches for beef. And I think the problem with these new big stadiums is they go, all right, there ain't no such thing as the Kop end anymore. We're just going to make like mishmash. Everyone sits everywhere and that's it. And I think that's part of the issue. Like you can everyone can make a big stadium, but you can't fill it by just putting anyone next to anyone. There are different types of football watchers. And I think that's something that some of the newer stadiums and the new fans are going to, or the new, the people who are making the stadiums need to really factor in, because there is naturally Spurs have Heung-min Son as an absolute legend, and there's going to be people from his country who come to watch him every single week. He's a baller, bro. Different gravy.
Different gravy.
And they're coming to watch him. They're probably not coming to watch Spurs, which is completely fine in my opinion. I know some fans don't like. Yeah, some fans. I see it at Liverpool all the time. They're always like, I see Egypt flagged and I don't like it. Bro, look, your best player, who's won as a league title, is Egyptian, and you're more than happy with that, but you're not happy with someone taking a couple of seats off your scouts, bro, who probably didn't want to buy the tickets in the first place. And I think
it's that ignorance.
Yeah, it's that ignorance, but I think when you pair the two things together, I can understand, I can also understand the other end. You've been at Liverpool for 30 years, and you want to see the guy down your street get a season ticket or a ticket to a game before you see a random Egyptian fan. I understand that to some extent as well.
Yeah,
but then
you got to play devil's advocate a little bit.
Yeah, then you should be in the ultras end. Go sit in the ultras end where all of you are built from the same stuff. But in this end, on my row alone, I remember last time there was Gomez's sister sat next to me. Next to them, there was an Egyptian family. Next to them, there was like a Korean family, I think. Part of my ignorance, I don't know for sure, but I believe there were. Next to them, there was another Asian family, and next to them was like an older white couple. And I was like, this is football for me. That's how I see it. But some people's perspective is not like that.
It's universal. It's universal.
Yeah. So no more on the rant. I'm basically...
Quickly appreciate the donation. We will get onto that in a second.
Aston's going in, you know. My guy, hey, Aston, listen, shout out to you.
My guy, thank you.
Aston got paid.
Paid in. Yo, payday. I think honestly, on your point there, I think specifically talking about Spurs, where they messed up on that front, is that usually in Old White Hart Lane, why I think the atmosphere was so good there, and also kind of why it was like Upton Park and those kind of stadiums where you're kind of almost scared to play there because of the atmosphere was so good, is that the North Stand, where I was at the time in White Hart Lane, was predominantly family. It was always known that that's like the family section, so that's fine. You've got that section there. The South Stand then was kind of like your more rough and tough, like die-hard fans standing chanting the whole game, but that was always next to the away fans, and that's kind of, that was good for atmosphere though, because it kind of, there was a lot of back and forth between them. Now with the new stadium, they've put the away fans next to the North Stand now. So all of these, like the diehard Spurs fans, would have had the first choice at the new season tickets, and everyone would have gone for the South Stand like we did, because that's where you think the atmosphere is going to be. It's a single tier stand. It's immense. It looks amazing. But then you don't have that interaction with the away fans like you normally would, or like you used to, because they've moved them to the complete opposite side. And I think that's kind of killed the atmosphere a bit. And I think you're right. There's like a massive mixed match of where these fans are now dotted around the stadium. So it really, and you've had like that pocket of fans here would sing, but then the others are like delayed or not in time. And it kind of, it's really hard to manage that in new grounds, man. It really is. And it can cause a bit of an issue, but
I'm not gonna lie, I know everybody in right now has seen this. Lukaku, and I need to, because obviously we're all on social media. We've seen it. We've seen the banter. Like Rambo, I want to get your take. I honestly want to get it because I know I'm gonna laugh when I hear you talk about it.
For context, it's Ibrahimovic and Lukaku,
I know I'm gonna laugh.
little beef yesterday in the Milan derby.
Lukaku would smoke Zlatan. People trying to tell me Zlatan was... Bro,
what did I say?
People trying to tell me Zlatan does martial arts. Bro, I've been in the odd fight here and there. If the guy across me wants to break my neck, I'm not going to be able to whip a kick out. It's not UFC, bro. He would snap his neck off. You can't climb the cage and throw yourself off it. Rom is going to snap your neck before you get near him. And that's it.
Some of the words that were thrown around as well.
Oh, bro.
Disrespectful. Oh, my.
I seen a tweet where... Go on.
No, like, obviously, you know how Twitter is. I'll be honest, I love Twitter in these moments because someone said they were arguing who played worst at Man United. And then, he was saying, talk to his, like, got ask your wife and all these crazy things. And I was like, whoa. Like, no, it was wild. It was wild, bro. It was wild.
I seen a tweet. Someone said, I've never been so angry that I tell the person that I want to F them. So Lukaku says, like, F you and your wife. He says, I'll F you and your wife. And I was like, I've never been that angry to say, like, I'd do that to you. Like, maybe, like, it wouldn't make no sense. But yeah, nah.
No, that was too funny. The biggest meme that I saw...
These are the moments that, like,
No, I was just saying the biggest meme that I saw, which was hilarious, was like the beef between those two. What else is there? Like, you're talking about all the beef in the derbies, and then you just had Stones and Maguire hugging after the match, even just the United match.
You saw those pictures, like compilations, and then the Stones at the end. I was like, it's the most bizarre thing. But those are the moments that met, like, word to what Rambo said earlier. Like, these people actually love football. Like, these are things that kind of like they attribute to it. Do you know what I mean? They contribute to it. Sorry, like it's amazing, bro. It's so beautiful. But go on, sorry.
Did you see that the ref in that game pulled his hamstring out to get subbed off?
No, I did not see that. Too much stress. Like, children fighting on the pitch.
Bro. Yeah. So honestly, that derby had absolutely everything. But I reckon the ref just said, Rom's going to smoke me at some point. So I'm doing one. Before I get my neck snapped by Rom, I'm gone.
Oh dear. Oh man. I would not want to be in between those two. I would struggle. There's no way I would be able to stop those two from going at it. So maybe the ref did the right thing to get out of the way as soon as possible.
No, I'm not going to lie though.
Yeah. He said, there's no way I'm getting in the middle of this. There's no way. These guys like 6 foot something. I'm not involved.
Bro, there's just no way Zlatan actually wanted it though. Like he I don't know. Maybe I was reading too much into it, but I was like,
man.
Yeah, I was like,
character.
Yeah, but you know, I was saying this to someone else that Zlatan does this brilliant thing. He's a brilliant marketer. That he has this thing whereby he builds this aura around him that he's invincible. So he said earlier this week at some point, he said like at AC Milan, the reason we're competing is because I'm here. Now when they fall off, he's gonna also say these lot are shit and that is not my fault. He builds this aura around himself that he's invincible. So this whole thing of what you were saying, this whole thing he was saying to Rom, I was like, this is the difference in peak and characters here. Zlatan is the sort of guy to like say he threw a pizza at someone's head when actually he ate the pizza and it landed next to the guy's foot. Rom's the kind of guy to open your mouth with his bare hands and shove the pizza in there. And I know who will back it in a fight.
I knew I would laugh if I was like, you know, if I asked Rambo, I know my stomach's going to hurt.
On the blue corner, we got Ibrahimovic in the red corner, and you're taking Lukaku all day long, is what I'm hearing. First round KO, is that one?
Listen, if you saw Lukaku's neck when he was pressing it against, you knew. It was like, this guy does not want it, bro. He doesn't want it. Right,
we need to hit up Eddie Hearn. Winner of that fight takes on Jake Paul. What do you think? Conor McGregor in the ring.
Honestly, I would back Rom to be one of the hardest guys on earth when he's angry. Genuinely, like I reckon he's. Yeah, there's just certain people. I just think he's been through a lot. I've read a lot about him,
definitely.
And I just think people like that are just built from something different. Like they
saying that, I was praying that he just tweeted or put an Insta post just saying I'm built different today.
Yeah,
I was hoping he would do that.
Yeah, I mean, you got people like Zlatan was beefing Pep, and Rom said like in his childhood he beefed like 6 guys because they stole his pencil. There's a difference in person there. A lot of people are saying Zlatan does martial arts, bro. I'm sorry, bro. I could be a black belt in martial arts, but I can't spring a kick on someone who's just going to get hold of my throat before I spring a kick. It's just hard.
If they're choking you on the ground, how are you going to get out of that with like a roundhouse? You know what I mean?
Exactly, bro. Do you know what I mean?
Listen, if they want some longevity outside of football, they need to do a boxing match.
100%. I
would pay to see footballers when they
good money for that, bro.
That would be unreal. I mean, if YouTubers are doing it, footballers can do it as well. I think it'll make so much.
That's niche. That's a niche market. Like I think they could tap in if they tapped into it, bro. Listen, I would pay. Like I said, bro, I would pay great money to watch that fight, bro. Just to see, like, because you know, Rambo does have a point. Like Lukaku's upbringing, you know, if you pay attention. Even as far as like, he's one of those players who their background's so tough, they just have to play for Belgium. Let me put it that way. You know what I mean? So yeah, most definitely. Like I do feel like, I mean, I don't want to promote violence, but yeah, just for the sake of entertainment, that would be great. That would be great.
So would you take Lukaku as like football's hardest man right now, or do you think someone else out there is like, the man you would take in a fight to take on anyone?
Go on, Rambo. Go on. I know you got a few names in there.
I'm trying to think now. I've got a feeling this is a proper outside shout, but I reckon Ruben Diaz can fight, you know. I reckon he can scrap, man. Yeah.
What, like Lukaku level? Like, obviously, we haven't seen Lukaku fight, but you know what I mean?
Maybe not Lukaku level, but I reckon, like, I feel like he's the type of guy who bite your nose off in a fight. Like, I just get this vibe from... Yeah, like the geezer would get a kick out of doing random stuff to you in a fight. And then who else I reckon's rock hard?
What about your Vidals and your?
You don't think Hoodbag?
I think these Chileans are a bit different. You know, Chileans I think could take a few people on. I think they're going under the radar.
Yeah, but like Vidal's arms are like skinnier than Lukaku's pinky, so I don't back that. I do see the attraction towards calling Chileans tough because they are tough, but I think like they're a different type of tough. Like they're the sort of people who like you have to set off in the jungle and they'd come out alive. I don't think I'd put Rom in the jungle and he'd come out alive. I don't think Rom would survive. But if I was saying like put him in a ring, it's a different type of toughness. So I'd probably say Diaz. I'm trying to think like any foreign players that I've seen.
That Wickham number 9 that played against us. Not even like not Akinfenwa. There was like a number 9 they had as well. He's almost like his protege right now. He is a unit. And I can't remember his name. He is.
So we're just gonna skip past Akinfenwa in terms of who do you think is hard? Because I feel like people. I feel like one of you guys will put Akinfenwa in there, but you feel like you get tired too quickly.
I feel like he hasn't got necessarily the pace on him anymore. Like even though but this guy was the one that sat Toby on the floor when they scored their goal. And he is massive. Like, I think I'd back him in any sort of fight with the way he was playing against us in that game. Honestly,
I'm trying to find the geezer's name. I actually don't think Akinfenwa was that hard, and he'd probably break my neck for saying this, but
he's a nice guy, man. I met him on the.
No, he's top guy. But yeah, no, sorry, go on, Rambo. Go on.
Yeah, I reckon he's actually quite safe. I reckon he's actually quite a nice geezer. So,
proper.
And like, he's big, he's jacked. You know, some people you see are jacked. Like, okay, I'll put it this way, yeah. I reckon if you dropped your weight on your neck and Lukaku saw you, he'd chat to you and ask you to pick it up yourself. Whereas I think Akinfenwa would help you up and say, "You all right, mate? Oh man, you just got to be careful. Take the weight down a little bit, yeah. Take a couple of kilos off, and you'll be all right."
Yeah.
He's a better mentor than like a.
Yeah. Whereas Lukaku go put 10 kg extra on the side and work, son. Until you can't lift anymore, you work.
So it's his name is. I don't know if I pronounced this wrong, so apologies. But Uche Ikpeazu is his name.
Oh, he's huge.
English-born Ugandan professional footballer, and he's just a unit, man. Absolute unit, and he's got a bit. Who was violating some of our players? Absolutely.
I've just seen a picture of him squaring up to Scott Brown. I ain't backing that, to be honest. Scott Brown will get smoked.
Right, okay. Bring this back to Liverpool a little bit. Liverpool Spurs, the big game tomorrow. Any sort of score predictions before? I kind of want to do a little bit of a combined 11 quickly as well, if we've got time. But I want to see, kind of get your score predictions first, or how you see the game kind of playing out tomorrow, tactic-wise, formations, that kind of thing.
I think we'll see a very similar game to the one we saw at Anfield. I think it'll maybe be a carbon copy. I personally think it'll be 1-1. I think it'll be a tight game. I imagine Spurs probably take the lead, and I think Liverpool probably get an equaliser. And I think it'll be one of those where both teams will go off maybe feeling as though we could have won that, but it's probably the right sort of result, because I don't think either team can afford to lose. So I quietly reckon it'll be 1-1. But I'm not sure really. It's a flip of a coin at this stage. Why? What do you think?
Well, any particular goal scorers quickly with your 1-1, or you just?
I back Kane to score because he loves a goal against Liverpool. And I back Salah to score because he loves the goal against Spurs.
I reckon Kane will score 2. In my opinion. 2? I will score 2.
But obviously,
you guys looking at me weird. I'm calling it. I'm standing by it. You guys looking at me a bit weird. I'm standing by it.
You would have got me by the title earlier, so I'm just doing this weird back.
I'm standing by that, bro.
I think if it's going to be so tight, man. I think, like you said, it's a bit of a, because both teams can't afford to lose. There's going to be a lot of, and I think the way like Liverpool's results have gone recently, conceding 3 goals against United, and obviously like drawing quite a few games recently, there's going to be a bit of reluctance to go forward from both teams, purely because of the fact that the main focus has got to be do not concede. We've both conceded too much recently, Spurs specifically from set pieces. It's going to be a bit of a worry for both teams, but I do honestly think that Spurs are going to come in clutch just in the game tomorrow. I think it's a bit of revenge time. I think Sonny and Kane looking a lot better than they did the last game, and same things with like Bergwijn as well. But we've had a lot of rumors about Davis not being available, potentially Reguilon not being available. So who knows at this point regarding what the team's going to be against you lot. But I'm going to say 2-1 Spurs. 2-1.
That's brave, because I just got the fixture results here. Sorry, Michi, I interrupted you. Michi, you got some Tesco Wi-Fi, because I swear to God, I keep jumping in. Spurs have won once in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 games against Liverpool.
Oh, and that would be the 4-1 as well at Wembley.
It was the 4-1 at Wembley, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's always a tough opponent, man. I think.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I hate playing Liverpool. I'll be honest. I hate
playing Liverpool as well. I hate
you guys. I hate playing you guys.
I think I hate Salah as well now, mainly because of what he did in the Champions League final. It was he scored the penalty and he just stood there in front of the fans and kind of was just like or he was either cross-armed or he was like looking at us like that. I still think he should have got booked for that to this day. You never know. I might be reaching, but because it was like a few rows in front, I was vexed. And ever since then, hated his guts. Still on my fantasy team, mind, but hate him. Hate him so much.
Wow,
Yeah.
rattled.
No, I am. I was that day. I was fuming. No, but the thing is, he's the player I would fancy to score against us. But then recently it's been Firmino, man, and he never seems to score until we play Spurs, which is
Yeah, bro. I'm only predicting the goal scorers on the basis of what I've seen in the fixtures between these sides previously. But I wouldn't be surprised if this game ends with a Højbjerg goal and a Matic goal. Like
absolutely random.
It could be easily be that kind of game. Also, sorry to be a pain, but I've got to make a move in about 5 minutes, so we can do a combined 11 if you like.
All right, cool.
100%.
Let's do that quickly while you're here. All right. How are we gonna work for this? We'll go position by position. Just give our opinions.
Wait, hold on. Quick question: are we saying on current form, or are we saying 18 months, or are we saying overall player? Are we saying there's a lot of?
I wanted to say just. Well, I know George wants to get me, but I was thinking just overall, in my opinion. But yeah, George, I feel free to chip in as well.
I mean, yeah, we'll say. Oh, it's tough because you've won everything the past 2 years. So it's easy. It's easy to say just Liverpool players. Just a combined 11. Who are you going to want in your team from the players? Let's look at the past year.
I'm sitting this one out.
Year kind of thing. I would say is the tough thing because I've got arguments for the first one already.
we should have. They've got to be fit. Because obviously, then you have to lose Virgil. It makes it a bit more interesting.
Okay, all right. With fit players, the fit players. So it's got to be fairly recent then. All right,
okay.
Past year or so, got to be fit. Who are you picking in your team? Because I'm already saying I'm putting Lloris ahead of Alisson straight away. Only because, and I said this to Michelle last time as well, and a couple of times. Yeah. For me personally, just looking at since the restart last year. For me personally, especially if you look stats-wise as well, not only that, just watching his influence on the game. For me, Lloris has been the best goalkeeper in the Premier League since the Premier League restart. That was last summer. Because I think it's so easy just to say that, Alisson, because he won the Premier League and this and the other. Don't get me wrong, incredible goalkeeper. But then part of that was also down to the fact that you had a great midfield and a great defense, which meant not a lot of teams would have a shot against him, kind of thing. Whereas I think for me personally, since the restart, Lloris has pulled off incredible saves. He's led us as a captain, and I think has one of the best shot to save ratios in the Prem since then. So that's why my argument would be for him, but I know I'll probably get slated for that massively.
I mean, I'm not one to slate, you know me. But you're out of your mind. I think I love Hugo Lloris. I actually think he's very, very, very underrated. Yeah. People, as soon as he makes a mistake, people go, how's he won a World Cup? I mean, the geezer was class in that World Cup as well, mind you. I just think it's really difficult to compare keepers, especially with these two sides, because Spurs leak more chances than Liverpool do. Yeah. But then obviously when you say the restart thing, then you're looking, then I could easily say Liverpool just ain't fancied it since the restart. Pretty much. They've pied off the league. In my opinion, watching both keepers week in, week out, the reason I would have Alisson in my side is purely because he makes goalkeeping look very easy. He's incredibly calm. He's never out of position. The geezer, 9 times out of 10, he obviously should have saved Rashford's this week, just gone. But 9 times out of 10, he's in the right position at the right time. And I've always said, and it's the same I feel with defenders as well. If you don't have to panic, you've done your job. And for me, like, he gets into so many situations where Liverpool could easily concede goals. And I've honestly witnessed Mignolet, Adrian, Karius, a lot of Dons who don't deal with pressure very well. And he, obviously, Virgil's been a very great difference to our defence, but he is the defining factor as to why Liverpool won the league, in my opinion. And so, therefore, I'd go Alisson.
No, I'm willing to concede to Alisson because he is an unbelievable goalkeeper. I just wanted to get him up. I had to get my point across about Lloris.
Yeah, I hear that.
Also, very quickly, what I think is a bit of a farce is that didn't Alisson win? No, what was it? Alisson got into like the team of the year in not the FIFA one, like the awards, but Neuer won the best goalkeeper. How did that make sense?
I don't pay attention to these awards. It's more just a case of
and voted, and then who can get the best FIFA card? That's it. That's it. All right. Okay. Defense. Trent, are you gonna say? Because I mean, obviously previously, yeah, but this season
his form now and whatnot.
Yeah. But then the option you're putting forward is Aurier, who, in all fairness,
he's had a great season. He's had a great.
He's actually played well this.
Come on.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, we're comparing the last year. Aurier's probably had 12 games or 8 games. Trent's probably had 25. So, and I in this sort of debate, I'd go, who would I want on their best form? And I want Trent
you would
over
choose Trent.
Aurier. And who would I want on their worst form? I'd probably still want Trent because Aurier is like, my man will start chopping. He starts chopping trees down during games, and I'm like, don't do that, bro. Don't do that. So probably Trent, yeah.
Trent. Well, we'll do left back then. I think it's got to be Robertson. But I mean, I'm loving Reguilon right now, but I think we'll see more in the coming years with Reguilon. Whereas obviously going off of what's happened recently, I think Robertson's surely got to be the left back, right?
I can't argue that. But Reguilon, I think, is class, bro. He's very, very good.
Man,
needs to hit the gym a little bit though, because he gets thrown off the ball a bit too easily.
Therefore, needs to bench a bit more. 100%.
Yeah, bro.
Maybe we should send the Wickham striker down and just teach him a thing or two in the gym. Centre backs. If we have to exclude Van Dijk now because of the injuries.
I'm not gonna lie. There's some proper bookie options here. I'll play back three, to be honest.
Have three fullbacks just in defence. That's it.
Yeah. It's FIFA, innit? It's FIFA. Who's fast? Who's fast, man?
I think if you're looking at maybe like this season, and this is hard. This is really tough. I'm thinking you've got to probably put Toby in there, because for the most part, apart from the past couple of games, for the most part, we're always way more solid with Toby in the team, and he's a leader as well. And I think we can't. Yeah, we just do so much worse without him. And if you're comparing him to the both teams as well, I think Toby for me has got to be one of the first names on that team sheet for centre back. But I don't know what you guys think. I don't know who would be alongside him. There's so many other options like Dyer. Would you say Fabinho?
Yeah, I'd probably. My pairing would probably be Toby and Fabinho. I think Fabinho's been Liverpool's best player and he's playing out of position. Yeah. And I don't think I've seen... Anytime he comes up against someone pacey, you do shit yourself, but he makes it look easy. So, but as I say, bro, there's like no options there, which is probably why it's so easy to pick. It's so bad that we're picking a holding midfielder as a centre-back, but he is quite good at centre-back. So I'll probably say Toby and Fabinho, but I mean, we're getting roasted, to be honest. We're conceding a lot of goals with this side.
Yeah. It gets interesting now, though. So I assume we'll go for like a 3 in midfield and then 3 up front, because we got to have like the wingers and a striker. So
yeah. Oh man, Jesus.
How do we choose? Because we're gonna say Højbjerg all day long, because that guy has made.
That was literally the first thing I was gonna say.
Got to be Højbjerg, especially since now that Fabinho's moved to centre back. I feel like we've got to stick. But then you argue, like, what would you say Thiago's position is?
Yeah, but I mean, if are we going? Obviously, we can't pick Thiago as a Liverpool player, so we're basing his Bayern form as well. So I would argue we can't really put Thiago in there personally.
Yeah. That's fair. Thank you for that.
Yeah, it makes our life easier, bro.
Easier.
My midfield 3, Højbjerg's in there all day long. I love the geezer. The most German Danish guy ever. Probably put. Obviously, I put Henderson in there. I know people debate that, but I think like when he's not in Liverpool's side, you see how lopsided Liverpool are.
And then leader as well.
Yeah, and then I'm going on the last year. I mean, on the last 5 games, Ndombele's in, but on the last year is a very different sort of
player.
Yeah, like Ndombele at his worst is like catastrophic. Ndombele at his best is unbelievable. So I'm like going, which one am I picking here? Go on.
I was gonna say, I still think, just given the options, I still think it's got to be Ndombele, because I think it's one of them ones. It's hard to do this combined 11 because, like you said, it's like, do you take the last year exactly, or do you just take recent form? Aston Lambert coming again with the £2 donation.
My guy, Aston.
Hey, send me a bag, man. This guy's moving.
Listen, Aston, Michi needs new Wi-Fi at home. He's sat in his car doing this. Please help a brother out.
Please. I think I'm basing it off of like the team I'm trying to construct right now, and I think we need that attacking midfielder that's going to create. And across the both teams, I think for me, Ndombele's got to be the one from them. Looking at recent times, if you look mainly this season as well, because it's not just the last 5 games. Like this season, Ndombele's been so good for us, keeping Lo Celso out even when Lo Celso was fit. So it was just a matter of him getting enough minutes, like enough lasting the 90 minutes now, which he can do easily.
Are we allowed to play different formations?
To what are you suggesting? What are you
So
thinking?
I'm thinking I can't put Ndombele in just because I'm going, mate, there's 5 attackers that I want to put in. So
Okay.
But if you've got Henderson, Højbjerg, Holding, you've got 2 holding midfields, they're not going to be that progressive. So I'd probably say you could switch to a 4-2-3-1. And then you could probably put maybe Son in the middle. I have seen Son play in the middle occasionally, not as a 10. I'm crowbarring him in as a 10.
Yeah, just to try to squeeze in all the attackers we can.
Yeah, and I think he's that good a player. He can play there. Sadio's played in the 10 for Liverpool occasionally. Kane could probably play in the 10, but I'd hate to put Kane in the 10.
I was just about to argue that it would more likely be for Spurs, especially Son up top and then Kane behind, because Kane dropped so much this year to pick up the ball.
Yeah, but I mean, if we put, I'm always thinking if I put this up as a graphic, people would murder us putting Kane in the 10. People go, "You're FIFA fans. You can't put Harry Kane at number 10." So I'd probably go Henderson, Højbjerg, left side Mane, right side Salah, Son through the middle as a 10, Kane as a 9, and Son and Kane maybe interchange, but I have to get them 4 in. I can't leave Mane or Salah out.
Or even if you look at it as like a 4-2-4 and you kind of have Son and Kane just up top and they just interchange like between them in a way. Just some ultra attacking formation that we just need. I'm gonna have to agree with you with that, to be honest, because there's no way we can't not have those front 4 in the team. There's no way. Who the hell do you sacrifice out of those 4? We'd be here for hours trying to argue which one it would be.
So that's pretty much it then.
Maybe Mane as the number 10, because hasn't he played kind of striker sometimes and went Firmino out of form?
I think like the four guys up front who are all class footballers. They can interchange between them, so they don't need me to tell them what to do. If Son wants to play 10 that game, listen, bro, you play 10. If Salah wants to play, you play 10. I ain't arguing with you. You lot know better than me. Do you know what I mean?
He's playing number 6 and number 8, so you know what? He can go in goal if he wants. Let's be
honest. I'm not here to argue with professional footballers. I'm just trying to make the best team possible.
All right, I think we can agree with that. And we'll probably turn this into a video as well to get it out just in time for the game. And I'll put the graphic there for sure, so you can see what the final team is kind of looking like and what we've had to sacrifice. But I appreciate you coming on longer than
Thank you, bro.
My guy.
It was a fun discussion talking about Premier League, the title race, some good, some bad players, Liverpool, Spurs. Obviously now a combined 11. A lot of very interesting content.
Thank you, boys, for having me on. Absolute pleasure, man. I hope this series absolutely bangs for you, because views on views, innit? And if you're sat here, you haven't clicked the like button yet, you're an idiot. Click the like button. Otherwise, Lukaku's going to turn up in your wardrobe and start snapping your necks.
We do not want that.
And listen, you don't know Rambo, he's a big boy in this thing. So make sure you research him. Like, he's a big boy in this thing. No jokes. Do you understand?
I already put the link to your YouTube channel in the description.
Thank you, bro.
And I'm sure you can then find his Instagram and Twitter and whatnot through all of that as well. So, yeah, man. Again, thank you so much for coming on. We'll definitely have you on at some point soon again. Maybe when I don't know, we might see you in some sort of final, in some sort of other game. Who knows? There could be anything could happen throughout the season, but appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, bros.
And guys, like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.
Come on. Peace.